Hello, everybody.
Hello.
We are back. We were having a little chat before this started about the autumn equinox and how we feel it's brought this idea of balance and this nourishing energy into our life, so that we're also in these places of connection and giving ourselves that time and that space as well. And I think this is like a good lead into today's topic of how this balance is actually one of the foundations, one of the pillars that I've found that's allowed me to create an authentic business and to build a business that's rooted in this consciousness. How about you, Andrea? How does that, like, what comes through to you as I say that?
Yes, like creativity, I feel it comes from connection, but it comes from the alone time as well, from
Mm.
being on a walk close to a water, like those things where you're deep immersed in yourself. Because when we are with somebody else, it's like we are deep into the energetic field of the other person. So maybe we can have some insights, or we can have some clues about what can we bring into our business from that. But I feel like the deep shifts are happening when we are by ourselves. Like authentic means you, like you being with yourself and finding what's like to be yourself and to translate that in your business.
How is that translated in your business? Like maybe some new shifts that you're experiencing now around, like, as you deepen into like what's my truths, like how do you translate that across into your work, into your business?
I feel like I am now more leaning towards one-to-one connection, like physical connection, having also circles here in Bucharest, connecting, feeling people's energy. Like I love my work with clients online, and I love Instagram, and I love all of this, the business I created right now. But for me, authentic, my energy is really felt when I'm close to someone, and I can really
Mm.
feel someone when I'm close to them. So a thing that is coming up for me now is leaning towards more face-to-face interactions, also like group circles or activities. Like I led last night a group with my sister, and it was so amazing to see like 10 people, doing the practice with you and breathing and releasing and doing all those things. And I had like goosebumps, and I couldn't, like, it was such a beautiful experience. And I also feel like after we serve one-on-one a lot, then our next step would be, feeling the energy of a group and serving like people a container that's created from multiple people. And that's why I'm really excited about our retreat as well, because it will allow us to meet people, to co-create with people. And I feel like it's been a theme for me and my clients as well this week, that we aren't completely fully recovered after the pandemic, and we don't
Mhm.
have our lives back 100%. Like some of my clients are still really resistant to go out, or to get into healing circles or those things. They're still like feeling weird with a lot of people around them. So I feel like being part of groups and retreats, it will help us to bring our lives back and to remember how it
Mm.
is to be in the same space with people that are like-minded and that can share the same vibration, let's say. So these are the things that
Mm.
came for me with this balancing equinox in my business.
I love this. And as Andrea was mentioning, like with our retreat as well, if you feel like called to go into that, we do have our wait list, which is available in the show notes or in the description if you're watching us on YouTube. So we'd love for you to come along and join us there. And yeah, what was coming up for me then listening to you speak was like the idea of like what a business has to be, and like moving away from what a business has to be and actually reflecting on like how do you want a business to be for you. And as you said earlier, like authentic means you, so you're discovering like that you feel the most connected and and balance when you're able to hold that space in person, when you're able to feel into that person's energy, and choosing to like prioritize that route and go down that route is building your business in an authentic way, is creating your business in an authentic way. Whereas if we kind of follow what everyone says we have to do, then it doesn't become an authentic way. It becomes like another kind of copy of what that business coach said or what that friend said that you needed to do in order to be successful. And whilst it's great to also utilize the guidance from other people and look at how other people have done their things to learn different perspectives, to learn different ways, it does actually limit us in our ability to really tune into like what we want and how we want to create something.
Beautiful. I took some notes because I didn't want to forget some core things around what you shared. Like, um, as you said, like about copying things. I feel it's like normal human when you start your business to not have a voice, not necessarily not having because you have it from the beginning, but to not know how to translate it. So of course, like if you're in a course or you're part of a group program, you'll start to imprint in your subconscious mind how the mentor talks, what words they use,
Mm,
their practices, their tools. So you'll bring them into your business. And in a way, that's like copying, let's say, if you don't adapt them to your personality. And
mm,
in the beginning, it's really like it's hard to adapt them because you don't have a style yet. It's your
totally.
style
And you're
is
also
created.
driven by this, like, how do I make money? How do I do this?
Yes.
Like, you're driven for that more survival instinct.
Yes, exactly. You're like your priority is making money. So if that means copying other people's practices, then you'll do it. And I think we all did that in the beginning. Let's not,
Completely.
we make pretend that we are perfect and we had a voice from the start of
Totally.
our business. But
No way.
then at some point it doesn't feel good anymore to lead your business from that point. And also you see that when you do this, and you probably saw that you don't even have so many clients or so much money because you're not, it feels something off. It feels like it's not your
Mm,
voice. It feels like, or maybe even people heard that thing somewhere else, especially if you're like taking practices from the from the most known coaches in the industry, like industry. Sorry. Then it's they see it, they hear it, and if you they see it and hear it at you as well, then it doesn't feel authentic, and also your energy is not behind that thing. So it's it's this point where, okay, I copied, and now what's my voice, what's my style, how can I share my voice in my business? And first, what I will what I advise my clients when they come to me with this question is also like, do the term, let's start with the naming first. Do the term being having a business resonate with you? For example, I have an artist that I work with, and she didn't want to create paintings for her business because this reminded her about her corporational job. So this term blocked her in expressing her voice. So, okay,
mm,
how would you call your practice? Ah, practice. That sounds so amazing for me. Art practice. Yes, that's how I love to call my business. I don't love the term business. So even
mm,
starting with how you call your craft, your practice, your art, your whatever you want to resonate to, because this will help you to create more and create more authentically, to have a connection, because your business is this energy that has a form, has a vibe, and for you to connect with it, you need to have a name for it, to have a ritual to connect with it. So that's the first step that I would advise in this direction. And these are like my reflections on this. A second step would be to just notice how you are in with your friends, with the most comfortable people in your life, because that's what your clients would love. They would love, for example, I am more
mm,
nurturing and mothering, and I try to cover this in the beginning of my business because some people saw me as people pleasing, And
Mhm.
I try to hide this, to be like this strong independent woman, like more masculine. I'm leading you, you're my client. And then my client said that you're being nurtured and nurturing and being this mothering
Yeah.
archetype. It's exactly what I love about you, and it's exactly what helps me heal. So okay, so exactly how I am with my sister, with my friends, with my in my personal life is exactly how I'm supposed to be in my business, because this is who am
Mm.
I authentically, so this is my perspective on this.
I really love that. I love that you allowed yourself to be that as well, and how that shifts. I think this is what, like, everyone wants deep down, is to be seen for who they are, right? And we
Hmm.
have different personalities, so to speak, that like to show up in different areas of our lives. But as you were saying there, like what tuned in for me was like, how do I feel when I'm most at ease in my life? Like when I'm most at ease, like you said, when you're with your closest people in your life, like how do you feel then? And showing up in that way then allows that other person to feel that energy of you being at ease, so then that they can feel at ease, so that they can begin to open up, so that they can start to see their own truths. And this is what, like, authenticity is really about. I think the word authentic, people can even get lost in that, like, how do I be
Hmm.
authentic, and then
Yes.
get in the mind and get in the,
Yeah.
like, how do I make this be authentic? And it's not so much as like, how do I do this? It's more about, can I allow myself to feel safe in this expression, even at times where it wouldn't naturally first come? So, like, it's natural to be at ease with maybe your parents or your partner or your friends. It comes naturally, but it didn't start that way when you first met that person. It wasn't ease
Hmm.
at first. So it's kind of like translating that feeling across, of like, when you're with a client, practicing that more and more, when you're painting or whatever it is that you do for your work, like practicing that more, that feeling of being at ease, and that feeling that you have when you're just being your most natural self. And then you'll start to notice, the more you practice that, the more you show up in the way, the more that the person sitting in front of you can then feel at ease, can then feel relaxed. And that's when real transformation gets to happen, because then they can open up more, they can connect more deeply, because they realize, oh, that person's not wearing a mask, or that person's not putting themselves on a pedestal above me, so I also feel safe to do the same. And this is I work with a lot of men, and I've always kind of worked with more masculine dominant individuals, and I found this is really important in these areas, because we can we can see ourselves. People need to see themselves in you, and it doesn't mean you have to be the same or have the same interests, but to see themselves in you, you need to be being you. Not
Hmm.
like your idea of who you should be, or what the industry says you should be to have a business, or what the corporate world says you need to be in order to be professional. All of these stories, they have to drop to truly create and have an authentic business, or, as Andrea said, a practice, or whatever resonates with you. The masks, the shoulds, the stories, they just need to drop and fall away. And it doesn't happen instantaneously. Is it, like I said earlier, like a practice? And then when you are you, then the person sitting in front of you can feel safer to be that as well. Or the art that you're creating will start to be more of a reflection of you.
Wow. The question that you asked earlier, like, what allows me to feel safe to be seen, like, it's the core theme for
Mm.
being authentic, because this is exactly why it's hard for us to be authentic, like, for some
Mm.
people, like, some people are, like, they felt seen, they felt appreciated for who they are growing up. And it's like, it's when you meet in those groups, there are those type of people that are really friendly with you from the beginning. They're like wanting to connect with you from the start, and you're like, okay, let's see, like. And for other people, like in my case as well, my authenticity was punished. Like, whenever I was being myself, and not whenever, not all the time, but sometimes
Mhm.
I had, let's say, more energy and jumped around the house, and I love to make jokes and to scare my parents and all those things. And they were like, "Oh my God, don't do that anymore. You scared me. Oh, you're not supposed to be like that. You're a girl. You're supposed to be more quiet. You're supposed to be more obedient." And of course, that it didn't feel safe to be seen. And it's not only our personal journey that scarred us in a way, but I told you that right now I'm working with a mentor on ancestral traumas. And guess what? We all have grandparents or previous generations that experienced war, famine, a lot of, societal things that created traumas. And during war, it wasn't safe to be seen. On the contrary, you needed to hide. So we have this fear of being seen passed down from our grandparents, from those who experienced war, from those who experienced trauma, also from abusive relationships or things like that. And all these things are dormant in our collective subconscious for us to see them and to heal them. So if you cannot express our authentic self from the first day of having a business, or even for 1-2 years, like, don't worry. It's something that we all experience, and it's normal. And it's a fear that heals in time by showing yourself that you are safe to be seen, by gathering proof that, look, this client appreciated me for who I am, and this person feeling safe with me because I am myself. And all these things, uh, gathering them as proof that now you're safe. Now we live in a safe space, in a safe, like, there's not, yes, the pandemic was again an unsafe environment, but mostly we can show our bodies that we are safe to be seen, especially online, where there is possibility also for bullying and things like that, that can, be again a thing that can scare us and make us hide. So yes, I love your question. Like, what allows me, asking yourself, like, if you feel unsafe to be seen, what would allow me to feel safe to be seen?
I love that question. What would allow me to be safe to be seen? And I think, and I remember, like, when I was at this point where I was like terrified to put myself online, like the idea of, like, if you would have told me a year and a half ago that you would have a podcast with like nearly 100 episodes, I would have been like, no fucking way. I would have been like, there's no way I'm going to show up, I'm going to do this. And if you would tell me that I would also do all of those unscripted, no plans, I would have been like, you're mad, So I think it's like, for me, it was very much, I went first into this thing of I'm afraid, and then I was like, right, now I'm going to allow myself to be seen. And when I allowed myself to be seen, then it became almost in a desperate way as well. I saw
Yeah.
this like, just please see me.
Yes.
Like, and one of the things that allowed me, it reflecting on your question then, that I think a lot of other people will be able to tune into here as well, is what allowed me to be seen was really when I saw myself for who I was, and allowed that expression to naturally come through. Because I think authenticity is an evolving thing. The more we strip back those layers of conditioning and programs and everything that we've picked up along the way in our whole lifetime and lifetimes before us, and this occurs throughout our life, we're discovering more and more, rediscovering, because it's already there, right? It's remembering who we are, and we're feeling safer and safer to express that into the world. And that first started with myself. Like, how can I shift these small things, like when I'm around the house or when I'm journaling, for example. Like, this was a big one for me, like starting to journal and starting to see myself in these words, and in poetry, see myself in these words. And then the more I felt safe to do that, the more I felt safe to then also do that online and with other people, because I was finally seeing myself. And when it was coming from this need to be seen for like the external validation, like, please see me, because if you don't see me, then I'm not good enough. It was more from this place of desperation, because I still wasn't really like looking at myself and seeing myself, and it was more, I was just projecting an image of what I thought people wanted. So for people that are listening in here, like, what can be some tiny actions that you can take, like as Andrea said, like to feel safe, to be seen? Like, what are some small actions that you can take that will allow you to see yourself? Like, what's some things
Mm-hmm.
that you can do? Like, if you want to, maybe if you want to go out into the world and share, like, whatever it is that you are creating in your life, whatever the business or the practice that you're tuning into, wanting to create, how can you do that first with yourself and like look at your work and be like, wow?
Mm-hmm.
How can you look at your work and validate your own work? I think I've heard a lot of people who are doing their work, and we're so quick to, because we think that it's like not good to say good things about what we're doing, right? So for
Mm-hmm.
me, it was like my poetry, and I always have been the advocate of my poetry. I'm like, my poetry is fucking amazing. But when I was younger, I would just like hide it. I would be like, no one could see this because I'm a bit like, it's a bit geeky and it's a bit nerdy. Like, I was kind of diminishing my own work, like putting down my own
Mm-hmm.
work. We're not taught to celebrate our work and to be proud of our work, and not from this egotistical place, but just because, of course, it's coming through us. It's a co-creation with the universe that's coming through us. Like, of course we should be celebrating it. So how can you celebrate these things with yourself? And when you deepen that trust, and as Andrea said, that sense, that safety with yourself, with that expression, then naturally it will start to come out more and more and more and more with other people. And as people feel this energy, they will be engaged to work with you or to connect with you, simply because you're expressing from your authenticity, from your safety of knowing that you're already whole, you're already valid, because you've expressed this with yourself. You're not trying to get a reaction or something from someone else. People will just be drawn to you. You just become magnetic in this energy. And again, I think this is a practice. This takes patience with it. I remember, I don't know if this was the same for you, but I was like, how do I be magnetic? Like, how do I just do this? And then the more you realize, you're like, oh, I'm more magnetic when I'm not wearing masks, I'm not wearing filters, I'm not trying hard to get people to see me.
Yes.
I'm just like seeing myself and naturally showing up.
Mm-hmm. And then you will be magnetic to your people. That's the good part when you're
Mm.
authentic, that when you try to be somebody else, you'll attract their type of followers or all kinds of people. When you're trying to be too general or you don't try to be too specific, then you'll try attract all types of people. But then when you are yourself, you just attract people that are yourself. And even
Mm.
last night in my sister's group, I was like, I'm so amazed to see in every group that I am how much the participants in the group look like their mentor. Either they look physically, or they have a personality trait that's really similar, or they have the same kind of businesses or practices. So it's, you'll attract the same authentic people as you are. That's the best thing of
Mm.
being magnetic, because you basically create your tribe. And I totally feel you with not sharing about your work. Like, I feel like I just learned this 2 months ago for real, because I
Same here.
always, yeah, like, I always try to share testimonials or things like that, but I either forgot or I did something else for my business. And then I realized that I was forgetting and avoiding because I felt uncomfortable to
Yeah.
share feedbacks about my work. And then now I'm creating a group program as well. And I was so resistant to creating this group program because launches for me are equal sharing my work. And I didn't know where is this resistance coming from. And then I dig deep, I did some hypnosis, and I saw that it's just this fear of being seen and sharing more testimonials. Because what if a lot of people would join my group and I will have too many people, this irrational fear.
Or
So
the other way, what if no one comes and I'm not
yes,
good enough? Like, we have
yes.
these two opposing ones.
Yes, exactly. So I committed to myself that for every post that I'm going to share every day, I will share one testimonial as well to show
Mm.
myself that I am deserving of sharing about my work. And I gather, like this weekend, I gathered testimonials from Instagram, from my courses, from the things from my work. And then I saw that I was sharing the same 10 testimonials over and over again, but in fact, I had 100, over 100 testimonials that I
Just didn't
forgot
even know
about
was
them.
there.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I was like, yes. So was a huge resistance for me. And think about when
Mm,
you're not sharing testimonials, in fact, you're doing a disservice to yourself because you stop yourself from getting more clients. And also you do a disservice to the people that are looking your work and want,
mm,
okay, need a reassurance or need, to
yeah.
see how other people feel when working with you. So share, overcome that resistance by sharing
Mm,
testimonials. This is how you're overcoming, just sharing all over again until you become really comfortable with it.
mhm.
And as you said, with um, feeling how to know if you become more and more authentic, like just look at your previous work, man. Like just look at your first videos, look at your like first YouTube, first podcast, first live
That's
sessions,
funny.
and you'll see how cringe you were. You will see how scared you were, how
Mm,
afraid, and how
mm.
non-authentic you were. Like when I see on my first videos, it's like I cannot believe that I had a business like that, that I had clients. I'm like, who
I
bought
remember
things
that.
from me?
Yeah,
Who bought things
literally.
for me? So you may think that maybe I'm not that authentic yet, or maybe I
Mm,
didn't work so much on this. But gather proof, gather proof. Just look behind
mm,
in your work and see that in fact you are more authentic. You are more yourself. And as you
mm.
said, it's a lifelong work because we change, we
Yep.
develop, we evolve. So of course that how you are authentic will evolve as well. And you said that you were really afraid before doing podcast, and you never thought that you would be like 100 podcasts. You would have like 100 podcasts. And 2 years ago, I was on the same chair and I did my first live session and I had a panic attack. I was like, I remember because my sister filmed me and I created a presentation for that live session. I had like PowerPoint here, phone
Yeah.
there. And I was like,
Yeah.
when I saw people starting
Mm.
to come in, like I was like, I couldn't breathe anymore. And my sister was like, "Are you okay? I think I'm having a panic attack." And I took some breaths in the live session and I continued. And I like did all the presentation and I didn't die, but I felt like I was dying. So, it's which you can do it, like you can do things
Mm,
that you never knew you can, but you can do things by doing them. Because if you're
mm,
just in that point of, yeah, but I'm not good at video, I'm not good,
yeah.
I had clients that were like, but I'm not so good with social media. Aren't you good, or you don't want to try, because there is a
Mm,
difference. If you want to be
totally.
good at something, you need to try, you need to practice. Nobody
Mm,
was born like the best YouTuber ever. They grew in time. They managed to talk better, to, show up on video better. So it's a practice.
I love this, and I think that's the most powerful thing that you can do to start, or when you're shifting, in the way that you want to express or the way you want to create, is just trying the thing, doing the thing, and even if it doesn't end up being the thing that you continue to do or the way in which you do things, you've learned something from it and you've tried
Hmm.
it. You've and I think of all the things I've done, so many things in business that I've not continued, or um,
Hmm.
ended up not feeling right, or I've shifted the way in which I did it. Like I've done the podcast in so many different ways. Like, and I have a 3 line in human design, which is trial and error, right? So I've
Hmm.
trial and errored like to the very depths of trialing and erroring, and I found like, and I think a lot of people can resonate with this and think about like what's coming up for them around this. And when you just try to do things, even if it doesn't, even if it's not the thing you end up doing, even if it's not doesn't work out and you have to shift direction, the growth that you have through that journey of doing the thing is actually gives you those tools, those reminds you of the inner resources that you have, the confidence, the the trust, the ability to surrender, the ability to actually go and do some technical things. But if you're constantly saying, oh no, I can't do that,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to completely even block you from realizing
Yeah.
some of these truths that are in you. Maybe you do give it a go. Maybe it doesn't feel right to you. Maybe it's not your path, because we are all unique people here to experience things, to do things in our own unique way. But if we
Mm-hmm.
haven't even given something a go, then how can
Yeah.
we really say that that's not our way? Because we haven't actually given ourselves that space to experience it first, because the human has to experience it to discern whether, okay, is this the right path for me to do it this way, or maybe I'm feeling this way a bit different. So like,
Mm-hmm.
just give it a go. Like if there's something that you're thinking of now, you're starting a business, or you're shifting the way that you want to do business, and you're hearing all these different ways that you can try, whether that be social
Mm-hmm.
media, whether that be doing things in person, right? Give it a go, like a decent go, not just that, sort of 15-minute go. Give it a decent go. And if it's still not feeling right for you, you can shift. You're not just stuck
Mm-hmm.
in something because you've given it a go. Like, it doesn't have to be the way because you've given it a go. And take that from
Yes.
someone who's done many different projects, many different things throughout my life. I've had so many different businesses, different projects, different things, and they're not always the thing, but the tools they give you are the best things that you need, that your soul needs to expand deeper into your experience.
Yeah. And even trying one time doesn't give you enough data, like with the live session, after I tried it one time for months, I didn't do any live session. And then I
Mm.
started having live sessions, and I realized that it's one of my favorite things on Instagram because it helps me to connect directly with my audience, and I can feel their energy and they can ask me questions and get to know me better. So, but I needed to try for multiple times
Mm.
until I got to that point. I need to rehearse my way of speaking. I need to overcome my fear, my anxiety. So, in this way, it's a fine line between conditioning and what's your own resistance. Like, is
Mhm,
this
definitely.
coming? And a great question that my mentor taught me in ancestral healing is that asking yourself whenever a block comes up, a limiting beliefs, a trauma, a pattern, a habit that you want to transform, and ask, is this mine or is this somebody else? Is
Yeah.
this fear mine, or is this the conditioning, or is this my mother fear? Is this, like with anything, it works wonders. Like I now use it to anything else, and I discover how many fears we have projected upon us, from other people. And no wonder, like because when I talked before the lives with other entrepreneurs, most of them told me like, no, don't know lies, they don't work, and it's like a lot of
Mm.
rejection. And I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, there's better
okay.
ways to do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that fear wasn't even mine, was projected
Mm.
from the outside. But that's a beautiful tool that you can use to, because we also said that we will give some tools today, and we gave you some questions. And a beautiful tool that you can use is asking yourself any time a fear is coming up, a pattern, a limiting belief, is this mine, or is this conditioning, or is this somebody
Mm.
else?
I love that. And this is something we don't even have to make complicated. Like, we just take some space, tune into ourselves in a way that feels right for you, and ask that question. Like, and you'll see different parts of you with different answers. But I think the one that is always true is the one that kind of just feels like a little bit, sometimes a bit stretchy, but it feels like easeful. There's a bit of a spark in it, even if there's a bit of a discomfort. Like, so for you, the fear was there, but something kept you going to do those lives. There
Mhm.
was something that was pulling you into them. The same with me with podcasting. Like, the first few episodes, I was just like, why am I doing this? Don't like this, right? But something
Yeah.
kept me going. There was still a spark there. So yeah, tuning into that spark within you. So as we finish up, Andrea, do you have anything else that you kind of want to go into for everyone listening? Any tools that you want to share with the listeners?
Actually, yes. You know that I love to use the body in my practices, that I also use embodiment practices besides hypnosis and human design. And in our retreat, we will do a lot of embodiment practices dances to release emotions and traumas and all of that. And a cool practice that you can do when you're asking, is this mine or is this somebody else? Is that using your body to respond for you, because our
Mm.
primal responses live in our body. We try to think with the mind, but our
Yeah.
intuition lives with our in our bodies. So the best way to find out, for example, for me, for my body responses, like yes is going my body a little bit in front, and no is like going my body a little bit back.
Oh, I
Yes,
like this.
yes,
Mine is a
because
little bit different than that, but I know what you mean.
that's why, like, you can stand up and see,
Mm,
like, asking your body, is my name, and say your name and see if
mm,
it goes up front, then that
mm,
is your yes. If it goes
mm,
back, then that is your no. Usually back,
mm,
on the back is no, because it's the resistance. Like, I don't want it.
mm.
Like, it's not
Well,
true
you
for
have
me.
like a unique way. So like mine, I feel like my yes is I feel this kind of energy coming up in my body. Like it feels light, this kind of like
Mm,
coming from like the stomach area, like solar plexus to like up into my heart. It's like a very light kind of feeling comes up. And when it's a no,
mm,
I feel it all in my like pelvic area and it feels tight and it feels like heavy.
mm, mm.
So I have
So
this. So like
you're like contracting for a yes.
yes, yes,
Uh-huh.
for a no,
For
contracting
a
for a
no.
no, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
lightens for yes,
Wow.
yeah. The one
Yeah,
thing one
cool.
of my mentors said to me, like, to discover this that helped me was, "Body show me yes, body show me no." And then, like,
Mm.
the more you kinda listen, you hear the yes and you hear the way the no communicates to you through the body, yeah.
Yes, it's a process
Mm,
that the more you practice, the more you can tune into
exactly.
its answers. Like,
Mm,
if you don't find an answer from the beginning, or a really subtle answer, like a tiny muscle, contracting,
mm.
you that means that you will get to know more your body in
Mm,
time. So
exactly.
just practice with this tool, with anything that's good for you or not. Also with, is this mine, and if your yes is in front, then you'll see your body going a little bit in front, so you know that,
Mm,
okay, this is mine, so I need to work it and release it. This is not mine, okay, so this is not mine, this is not my work to do. I release it to anybody, that to whoever it is, and then I'm free of that conditioning. I release it.
Nice, nice. I love that.
Mhm.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone who's tuned in today. A reminder, if you want to dive into our retreat in January and receive the updates and be on the wait list for January, then to join that. We would love to have all of you here. If any of you are feeling the energy of this podcast, I think that's the most important thing. Then jump on the wait list and we will keep you updated with what that's going to look. It's going to be so beautiful. So I can just feel the energy of it already. And it's just
Yes,
going to be
yes,
very
well.
grounded and very beautiful. And it's really going to bloom into something that's going to be a continuous growing community for
Mhm.
women in business and leading into conscious leadership or your practice or whatever resonates with you, right? So we would love to
Yeah.
have you on the wait list.
Yes, we cannot wait
Awesome.
for this experience. Thank you.
And it's in
Thank you, Emma.
Ibiza, in my home.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
even more
exactly.
special.
Not at
Thank
your
you,
house,
everyone.
but
No, not in my house. My home island.
yes.
Oh, thank you everyone who's tuned in, and we will see you live again in 2 weeks, Thursday, 4 p.m. Central European time. Thanks
Thank you.
everyone. Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye.